I feel like that's what heaven could look like. Either that or a cheese factory. I don't know. But
Wow.
hello and welcome to the Abroad in Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. I'm your host, Chris Broad. We're joined as always by England's top Japan enthusiast, Mr. Pete Donaldson. Pete, how the devil are you doing? Coffee time.
It's not coffee time. It's never coffee time. In the history of television, no one has ever started, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I can't remember who does it in America, but I also can't remember who did it in the UK. But there was 2 or 3 hosts, I believe. Chris Tarrant, I believe. He would not start Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Welcome to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And then crack open a can of coffee as the show starts. Kilimanjaro Tullies and start supping from it. Nobody would ever do that. I'm good, Chris. It's early in the morning, just as day's dawning, and I've just spent about 5 minutes trying to find the lid off the bin we use to put nappies in, because it's gone somewhere in the garden. I couldn't find it, and I feel like I've kind of, if I leave it open, it's a recipe for disaster, Chris. It's a stinky bin full of poo. I mean, I think everybody in their life should have a stinky bin full of poo they have to manage, because that is, I think that's a lovely kind of metaphor for the soul. A stinky bin that must be covered at all times so the smelly poo does not come out.
What is wrong with you? I mean, that's probably better than how I was woken up. I was woken up by 6 Black Hawk helicopters. I thought, no, they're coming for me finally. Yeah. They're coming for me in my stash of Tully's Kilimanjaro blend coffee. In fact, the King of America himself is here in Japan for, I think, 48 hours.
Right.
Mr. Trump, President Trump is here to strike some deals and make some money. And he came here, and the one thing we all wanted was, can you lower the tariffs, please? And he didn't do it. They even gave Trump, the new Prime Minister, Takaichi-san, apparently they gave him the golf club of like Shinzo Abe, or Shinzo Abe's favourite hat. Do you know what it was?
It was the again? Putter. It was his putter.
The putter.
Yeah, Sane Takaichi gave. Should she be giving away putters? Should she be giving away stuff from a dead man? Like, it just seems a bit like, it seems like a house clearance. Do you know what I mean? Like my mate who does the wrestling podcast with me, Mark, he spends a lot of time on eBay buying old 1970s UK wrestling posters, and so he consistently takes advantage of old men who are dead, and house clearances, and house clearances where people don't know how valuable certain things are. So he makes out like a bandit, taking really nice 1970s wrestling posters, and I feel like it's kind of like, should that be in like the Shinzo Abe's museum rather than given to Donald Trump, who let's face it, he's known as a golfer. He's not known as an honest golfer, is he? So I don't think that's a great kind of place for that putter to be, I suppose.
It's weird, isn't it? Somebody would have rummaged through Shinzo Abe's cupboard and they've gone, oh, that'll do, won't it? That putter there. What about his favourite jacket or jumper? No, don't do that. Just stick with the putter.
Don't do that.
And I think the only thing to come out of the meeting was a declaration of great ties with no real substance.
Right.
And some rare earth minerals.
Obsessed about rare earth minerals. He's obsessed with like metals. He's obsessed with rare metals for the electric car industry that he's helping. And he's just upset. He's like a sort of Middle Earth goblin. He's obsessed with I must have precious earth metals. Amazing. Astonishing.
You're just jealous. You don't have a sack of rare earth minerals.
I don't have any.
Shinzo Abe's golf clubs.
I just want some lithium. Give me some lithium, which would help my brain, one would suggest.
It's crazy though when I forgot what a big deal it is when a head of state, especially America, comes to Japan. 18,000 police officers on patrol around the city, dozens of helicopters. Weirdly, the helicopter was just like hovering above my apartment. It was just like there, and
keeping an eye.
It was the whole apartment was just like moving. It was like an earthquake.
You had the police visit your studio a couple of times, asking to have a peek at the building over the road and stuff. So I mean, you're clearly some kind of botherer, still some kind of crime hotspot you live in. I would say, did you see the Beast? Because obviously he's got that big bulletproof sort of limo car that I can't imagine would be able to navigate these small streets of suburban Tokyo, because it's got like vials of his blood in, hasn't it? which is
Yeah,
It's KFC gravy. It's just vials of the president's blood.
Ugh, it's horrible.
Just in
Yeah, I
case-
don't
it's
imagine that
horrible,
would fit down some of the side streets of Roppongi very well, to be honest.
No.
I didn't see it though. Unfortunately, just the helicopters. Just
Oh,
the
well,
helicopters
never mind.
on this occasion.
There are a
and,
couple of versions of my. There's a guy who's selling a version of my car. The celebrated
Bulletproof.
friend of the show, Bron Japan friend of the
Really?
show, the Toyota Century V12. There's a guy, I think he's in England, and he's selling his car, but it's like 3 tons because all of the windows are bulletproof.
Oh my god.
It's amazing,
Pretty cool
isn't it?
though.
Yeah,
That's
pretty cool. So it must have belonged to somebody pretty rich or pretty criminal.
But I'm trying to find like what they did, like what happened, and there's been lots of signings saying, yeah, we're the best of friends, golden age, but nothing really of substance. The US has still imposed the 15% tariff on
Yeah.
nearly all imports from Japan, which is obviously affecting Japan's car industry rather badly.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure a lot of people were kind of hoping like, please just lower the tariffs, and they haven't done that, unfortunately. So. But,
I mean, just to see him kind of going, whenever he's kind of abroad these days, he's a man of older, he's an older man now.
A man of
he's
fine
quite
vintage.
elderly. And it's just, whenever he's sort of seen abroad, he's very tired. He's very low energy. He's nodding off all the time. And because he's quite old, like that's just what happens. And, I mean, you do not want 48 hours in Japan, really, do you? Unless you watch one of your excellent videos about 48 hours in Japan. 10 things. He was doing his 10 things. He was on the tube, not talking to people. He was making sure he ate all of his rice.
I hope he sat down and watched one Abroad Japan episode with Natsuki at least. Who is this Natsuki? I've just found the menu for what they had for lunch. They had the Prime Minister had lunch. Here's what they had. I haven't had lunch today, so I'm quite hungry. They had risotto with chicken made with American rice. They had it.
Okay.
Oh God! Why would you
American
do
rice.
that?
Go fly all around the world to have a
Japanese
hamburger.
rice. Fucking hell! A New York strip steak made from American beef with vegetables from Nara, and for dessert they had fruit jelly in persimmon from Nara, which is Takaichi's hometown, with vanilla ice cream with a bit of coffee and tea thrown in. I mean, the steak sounds good. Don't know about the rest, but. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
Would you be happy with that
fruit-
if you're the dictator?
Fruit jelly. I mean, it's the sort of thing you eat when you're a toddler or infirm. So
Yeah.
both of those things count, I guess.
Dear oh dear! But I've been travelling around and doing things.
Doing things.
Doing things.
Doing
Been a
things.
fun week, shall we say?
Yeah.
Not as fun as Trump's week, I'm sure, but it's
No.
been a week. The most week.
Quite just as impactful, I imagine.
Yeah, I've been also. So I was on the island of Hatoma in Okinawa recently. That was really cool. Just got back from there. Then there was a thing that happened, which you can watch about on Abroad in Japan and the latest video. And then I went off to do the Shimanami Kaido cycle with Connor, which was really nice, actually. I haven't done it in like 7 years. And the last time I did it was actually after I saw you when we had the Kobe beef with Japanese rice and no persimmons. And then 3 days later, I went and did the cycle across the chain of islands, across the inland sea. And it cemented that location as like being my favourite place in Japan. It's so good. It is like what my image of heaven might be, because you'll be on the bike cycling along this beautiful coastline, white sandy beaches, calm seas, and you'll see like just dozens of islands leading out into the distance, fading away into the sort of till they're a silhouette on the horizon. And it's just like, I feel like that's what heaven could look like. Either that or a cheese factory. I don't know. But it was fucking good though. And I was like, why the bloody hell haven't I come back here in 7 years? I've done it twice. The first time I did it was 2015 when I just finished teaching. And I was like, to celebrate finishing my job, I'm going to do a challenge. But it was a very stupid challenge because I did it in the last week of July when it was like 38 degrees Celsius. And I got sunburned, I was like bedridden for 3 days. And then I did it with Charlotte on Journey Across Japan 1, loved it. And I've been trying to convince Connor to do it for a few years. Like, why don't we... Because obviously, like, we cycle once a year for 2 weeks, die on a bicycle, and then we don't get on a bike again. I was like, can't we... Well, I've got a radical idea. What if we got on a bike and didn't die? And he was like, oh, I approve this idea. And he signed off on it, and off we went. and he streamed it. It was a lot of fun, actually. We met a lot of interesting characters, and it was good. It was what I needed. Absolutely beautiful.
Nice
journey.
palate cleanser, isn't it? My little
Palate cleanser.
Little kind of calm little trip, and it was nice. Sort of, I think the pace of, whenever you work with like Premier 2P or work with other people, I think Connor is he's a lot more kind of he's a calmer sort of presenter sort of thing. So you don't feel so much like you have to kind of sort of match energy, like, because over like 2 days it's quite hard when you're working with like on an evening on a night out with Pete, like you're up for the cup and you're sort of really going for it and stuff, and alcohol sometimes gets taken, but on like something like that, I enjoy watching both, obviously, for different needs, but I enjoy watching your stuff with Connor because it's really sort of quite relaxing. Do you know what I mean? It's just a lot more kind of it's a lot more headspacey, I think.
It was cool. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty chill vibe. All we did was eat like pancakes filled with spam and just get lost occasionally. And we went camping, we went glamping, and Connor cooked me a barbecue. And there was a massive huntsman spider looming over me the entire time. And
extra protein.
Every time I was just staring at it in awe and horror the entire meal. But we did it over 2 days, and the last 2 times I've done it in one day, and it's about 70 kilometres, right? So it is a long day, and I actually think it is better to break it in two, because you can do it at a slower pace and see the islands and enjoy it more. So if you come to Japan, I don't care what your itinerary is, promise me you'll put it at the top, because everyone I know who's done it has said it's amazing. I have yet to meet someone who didn't enjoy it. Yeah. And if you're someone who's not like that healthy, or you think you might struggle on a bike, there's lots of e-bikes now. So you turn up, rent the e-bike, make your way across 70 kilometres, and then ditch the bike at the other side. And it is just the most incredible thing. And you'll come back a lot better, feeling a lot better afterwards. And then after that, we did a wacky weekend. We filmed on Shodoshima, which is the second biggest island in the inland sea. And I gave him the all-important, all fucking magical olive wagyu beef, which is the rarest beef in Japan.
Right.
They take some cows, fill them with olives, and then it makes the beef better, apparently. And you can't taste the difference.
They feed olives to the cows.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Apparently, the island of Shodoshima is one of the few places in Japan they actually like grow and cultivate olives, because it's kind of like the Mediterranean climate. And I think a farmer a few decades ago was like, realised there was a lot of wasted olive pulp, and he was like, maybe the cows would like this. Yeah. And at first the cows are like, oh, this is horrible, what are you doing?
It's disgusting. Have you tried feeding an olive to a toddler, for example? Like, I've tried that. Yeah. He's not having that.
It's an acquired taste, right? And then apparently he tinkered with the feed a little bit, and the cows learned to love it. And now they're the happiest cows in Japan, apparently, and it makes the fat in the cow a lot more, delicious, nutty, and you can taste the difference. The beef is like weirdly, subtly sort of sweeter and nuttier than regular Wagyu beef. But this was all like a reward for Connor, because obviously I put him through the ringer back in February with the Great Train debacle, where I was like, you're getting a great train. And it wasn't.
You made him sad inside. You broke him.
Indeed, and now I've made him happy and fat.
Yeah.
As part of I did the racetrack thing with him, did the Wagyu. I think I've made it up to him now. We can get back to torturing him appropriately.
I think this is all part of your big plan. Once you're feeding Connor the olive beef, that you're going to eat Connor. You just needed to
feed the olives to the cows and the cows to Connor.
Exactly. It's the old woman who swallowed a fly. You're going to end up carving Connor up for Connor sandwiches.
God.
When I said Connor's a different vibe to Pete's stuff, it makes it sound like I don't enjoy Pete's stuff. I love Pete's stuff, and his return to his return. I am a Pete. His return to his child this week made my heart explode. With happiness.
Pete's been on the road a lot.
Lovely.
We got a story from Sienna, who says, "Hello, Chris and Pete. After a year studying abroad in the Kansai region in 2023, which was the best time of my life, I've recently returned to the region on a working holiday visa after graduating. I decided to go to the nearest botanical garden for some time outdoors, and afterwards, as I was trying to work out which bus I needed to wait for, an older Japanese lady approached and struck up a conversation. While my Japanese is conversational, if a bit rusty, this really brightened my day. She was determined to get my life story, asking questions such as whether or not I live alone, what I do, how I came to be here, before also talking a bit about herself. She'd been living alone for quite a long time, and in her 80s she wouldn't like to be so lonely all the time. As the bus arrived and she began scrawling her address, name and phone number on a sheet from her planner, making sure I could read it, she also had me write down my name, so she would know it was me if I did in fact call her. To my surprise and slight horror, she continued chatting to me for our whole bus journey. But luckily nobody seemed to mind. She invited me to visit her, even if I just wished to study quietly or watch TV together. As a young woman also living alone for the first time, this was well and truly heartwarming to hear. I'm not sure whether I'll take her up on the offer, although the encounter very much made my day, and I would hope hers too. Has anyone you know ever had an encounter like this? Love the podcast. All the best, Sienna. What's that? I mean, it sounded like it was going to be another cult recruitment experience.
Yeah,
like,
but
heading
now
in that direction.
It's made me sad inside because this old lady just wants someone to watch telly with her.
Aww.
Now, I mean, the loneliness kind of elderly sort of epidemic in Japan has been sort of discussed on this podcast many times. But for the first time, I think we need that address, we need that phone number, Sienna, and we need to get it out there so people can become the new Lost Bar. People can turn up to the old lady, watch a bit of telly, and then go home. It can be part of the experience, like the Robot Cafe in Shinjuku. It's going to the old lady's house and watching a bit of telly with her. I mean, my God, that has made my heart hurt a little bit. It's oh, man.
I mean, I will say, if this story was somewhere that wasn't Kansai, I would probably be like, oh, it's a cult. But because it's Kansai, where people actually like to talk and be friendly, it's pretty normal, I would say, you know. But, you know, it's one of those awkward things. Like in the UK, you know, when people are like, oh, yeah, man, let's hang out. That always means we're never going to see you again. People just say nice things.
Or it means pub.
Or
it means let's get drunk.
And Japan is no exception. When people are like, oh yeah, we should do something, that usually means please don't talk to me again. And you have to sort of awkwardly get the cues.
How about now? How do we do it now?
Like, I was recently talking to an American friend who met a guy like in a park. I think he was on a bench, and they talked, and they got on well, and the guy invited him back to his house, and they had like lunch together. And the guy was like, you know, if you ever want to swing by again, just let me know. Just give us a call. And the guy was like, oh, okay, cool. And my American friend did indeed call him up, I think a few weeks later. And the guy just kept hanging up and nothing happened. And it was like, oh, sorry, man.
Oh.
Maybe get the hint, mate. Like, you know, it sounded like this guy really. He was like, "Oh, I remember when we hung out last month," and like the phone would just go dead and stuff. And it was just like, awkward. So
never mind.
There you go. Humans, we can't just say, "I don't want to hang out. Go away." You have to be nice and lie.
You have to change your phone number. You've got a great expense. You just got to change your phone number.
Absolutely. But what's going on in space? What is this? This is the weirdest headline I've seen in a while.
What's going on in space? There's a Japanese brewery. You know, it's attention short in any sort of market you're going to operate in. Finances are limited. You know, tax breaks aren't quite there in the rate they were in the 80s, for example, in Japan. What this Japanese beer company have decided to do is try and brew beer in space. A Japanese brewery company wants to brew beer in space. A Mie-based craft brewery, Isakado, is teaming up with Nagoya's Takazago. No, let's have another one on that one. Takazago. Yes, it is Takazago. Takazago Electric. It doesn't really matter. Nobody was familiar with Takazago Electric before this point, but they are now. Takazago Electric from Nagoya. They're teaming up to get involved in an ambitious space brewing project. Their mission, figure out how beer fermentation works in zero gravity. They're going to be sending one of Issacardo's award-winning yeast strains to the ISS's experimental module Kibo, which means hope in Japanese. Once the space-cultured yeast returns to Earth, it will be used to brew a limited batch of beer. Fans can get in on the action through crowdfunding. The scene is so typically microbrewery. Backers will get their first taste of a beer that's technically out of this world. It's not just a gimmick, though, they say. That's what they're telling us. The experiment could help scientists understand food production for long-term space missions. So basically, one day, future astronauts might be able to sip a beer while looking down on Earth. That's what you need, isn't it? Pissed astronauts smashing cans against their heads and then watching it float off into the ether.
You know, this is obviously bollocks, but what I will say is if anything that gets people fired up or interested in space can only be a good thing, in my opinion. So there's that. There is that element of it, but I don't really see the point. I mean, you could just... I remember there was a phase on YouTube where people would send things into space on balloons, you know. Get a big fucking balloon, send it up 100 kilometres above the Kármán line, so it's technically in space. Yeah. At some point, the balloon would pop and the thing would float all the way down and people would then recover it and be like, it went to space, this stick. And they could just do that. Just get some brewery and tie it to a balloon.
We launched a podcast doing that exact same thing. There's a company that sort of floats weather balloons up to... yeah, we did. Yeah, we launched a podcast. That was,
you are part of the problem. Damn weather balloons.
Space junk. I think it came down again. It was basically it's a company that has a little video screen and a sort of microphone and a speaker and basically just floats and a GoPro
really?
That floats up into space, films it and then comes back down again when it's stop being a weather balloon. I don't really know how it works, but that's how we launched.
Why the fuck haven't we done that on a Brawn Japan podcast?
Because it was backed by Amazon.
Why aren't we backed by Amazon?
Yeah, it's quite...
Bollocks. Katy Perry gets to go to space. Why can't they Brawn Japan podcast?
You could be the first. Yeah, I reckon you could probably get away. There's probably some... There's your expensive, Jeff Bezos crafts and, Elon Musk crafts. There's probably some, third-rate sort of like dodgy kind of billionaire who's kind of trying to do his own thing and he's trying to get as much press as he can for his dodgy little, Miata or like Mitsubishi Shogun that he's floating up into space. And you could get in there, do a bit of Japanese vlogging from space.
It's an opportunity, Robot Wars, we saw the ingenuity of British engineering in a shed. Why can't we have Space Wars? Why can't we make rockets in a shed? What could go wrong?
You literally came out of, to a certain extent, a man who knows engineering. So you could get him to float something up into space. Your dad.
To be fair, I remember when I was a kid, my dad built all sorts of things apart from killer robots. He built there was a town on the south coast of the UK called Eastbourne, one of the worst places in the world.
It's pretty bad.
That's not fair.
And I live near Southend.
Nice. Yeah, Eastbourne's had its finer days 200 years ago. But there was a thing where you had to build a wing, and then you'd get your friend to wear the wing and jump off the pier and see how far they could go, and then the person that went the furthest would win.
Red Bull do like some kind of derivative.
Yeah. This wasn't quite the budget of Red Bull. They were just people. My dad built a carbon fibre wing, strapped it to his friend, and his friend was like, "Let's go." And just nosedived straight off the pier into the sea, and the wing exploded. And there was no glory. It was nothing good. There was no engineering.
There's no R&D in Eastbourne. I bet he went, I'm never coming back to Eastbourne. You've embarrassed me for the last time, Eastbourne.
It was like a fucking kamikaze mission. It was all a bit of a mess. But he also built a rocket. I do remember he built a 2 to 3 metre tall rocket for fireworks, like bonfire night, November 5th. Where most people have like fireworks from the supermarket. He built a rocket, a 2 to 3 metre rocket.
Oh, the Lockerbie guy. You took down Lockerbie.
Well, our garden was like the size of nothing. It was like the size of a fucking toilet. And it was kind of unsettling, this rocket taking off in a very small space. I remember it ascended into the air and it sort of tilted and then just sort of exploded mid-flight. Like a Russian fucking, Russia's ill-fated N1 rocket that was supposed to go to the moon. It was all a bit of a mess. But I don't even know what we're talking about here. But why can't British people build rockets? That's all I'm saying.
Why can't dads build rockets these days, for crying out loud? Yeah, I mean,
Easy.
it's but
rocket science.
So basically, your house. Are you familiar with the TV show Pee Wee's Playhouse? Which is basically Pee Wee Herman, who you are familiar with, just where there's just like robots and like mad inventions and contraptions and characters all around his front room. And I'm imagining you basically from Pee Wee's Playhouse, running around
like
having
that,
to deal with
but not
chaos.
as good. Yeah. It was pretty bad.
My dad was an electrical engineer of some vintage, of some repute, but all of his stuff was just little wires and like just tea chests full of computing magazines. Back when you had to put like microchips onto a board to make a computer and all that shit. And
it was an exciting time back then, though, because in the era of analog, people were a lot more willing to like experiment and play around with cables and electronics. And now I feel like we've sort of gone beyond that a bit, and it's more of a commodity, and we deal with more with software. But
tinkerer. I'd like to be a tinkerer, if that's all right. I'd like to tinker.
You can be. Just don't build a fucking rocket and blow up half of Southend. We'll be back in a moment, guys. Your stories, comments, and questions over in the fax machine.
Wow.
And we're back with the fax machine. What do we got this week from our listeners? Mr. Donaldson, fill us in.
Hello, Mr. Affable and Mr. Moustache. A really strong lady has got in touch. Darcy's words, not mine. I've been watching you for years, and teaching in Japan has always been a dream of mine. Today, I decided to follow my dreams and actually start my application process for the JET program. I'm an avid gym goer who loves to lift weights, and I never miss a gym session. Can you join a gym in Japan with only a work visa, or can you get accommodation with gyms in them? I also wonder if you ever got the Christmas six-pack you mentioned you'd get on the Trash Taste podcast, Chris. Now, really strong lady, Darcy.
I did not get the Christmas six-pack, unfortunately. I've seriously thought about making that bet again. The bet was I had to get a six-pack in like 2 months. It was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
I don't think you...
Don't know I did it.
Well, maybe... Well, nowadays, with the old injections, maybe you can have a go.
Might help.
No,
it was very stupid. It was very stupid. I was the fittest I've ever been, probably, though. Without having a six-pack. So that was cool. As for gyms, yeah, you can join. You just need a work visa. I don't even think you need that. Some gyms, are international. So, yeah, don't worry about it. Just join a gym. Do it.
I can't imagine keeping weights in your house is all that efficient, because the houses are so small. It must be quite hard to kind of do anything at home, so you probably would have to hit the gym, wouldn't you?
Exactly. Or just run around the streets at night like I used to.
More plates, more Dave.
Super Dave in Vancouver says, hello, gentlemen. My Super Dave. The Superman hero Marvel never couldn't be bothered to invest in. Hello, gentlemen. My family and I will be visiting Japan for the first time this month, hitting up all the traditional places over 24 days. As I consider myself a movie buff, one of our evenings we plan to go out to see a movie. What are some of the differences we might experience seeing a movie in Japan as compared to what we know in the West? Can you get buttery popcorn, or should I be prepared for something different? Thanks for all the advice, Super Dave in Vancouver. You know what? I will say the Japanese cinema experience is better than anything I've probably experienced in the UK.
Right.
People don't cause problems in the cinema. It's nice. You know that there's not going to be any problems when you sit down and watch a film. People aren't going to talk or be annoying or wave their phone around, throw popcorn. In that regard, it's good. And we have buttery popcorn and sweet popcorn and hot dogs and chicken. It's amazing. But one problem, and it's a pretty big problem, is the fucking movies don't come out here until 3 to 4 months after the West.
Right,
so like one battle after another, which I watched the other day, it came out like 100 years ago in the UK and America. And so my friend's like, oh my God, did you see the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie? It was amazing. I'm like, no, I've got to wait 8 weeks, but thanks. And so it's a bit annoying. I think if I had to choose between getting the movie now and having a slightly less clean, slightly grittier cinema experience, I'd probably opt for that over the 2 to 3 month wait that we have here, unfortunately. Like I remember John Wick, the 4th John Wick movie. Connor was like, I'm going to Hawaii to watch it. To be fair, he did have to do a Trash Day special, but he got to go to Hawaii and watch it, and I had to wait like 6 months. So
right, was that presumably that wasn't? Is John Wick second set in Hawaii, or was it kind of
a bit of it was set in Japan? Yeah, it was all filmed in America, but
so it was a kind of it was an invitation from the cinema people, or it was just a Trash Taste thing they just wanted to do by themselves.
Oh no, they were doing a Trash Day special, and
okay. On John
and
Wick.
Connor got to just went to the cinema and watched a film in a reasonable time. But the reason they do it is there's translation stuff. There's lots of translation, but also I think they sort of treat it like a second wave of promotion a lot of the time, right?
Yes, because
So
you have your Tokyo premiere, don't you? Mm.
Yeah, actors can give Japan the attention it deserves because it's a pretty big market, 120 million people. So I think they want to give it a lot of love and attention, so they sort of bookend their press tours with it. And finally, Jay and Jacob from Ohio says, hello Chris and Pete, I've been very excited for an upcoming trip to Tokyo, and I was wondering, are the towers around the cities as wonderful and as amazing as many people say, or do you think once you've seen one, you've seen them all? Which one do you guys like the most? Regards, Jay and Jacob. You answer this one, Pete. You've loved towers. You've seen all the towers.
You sort of go up them, and then you're like, is this the best tower? Have I gone to the best one? Everything seems quite high. I mean, I would say, like, if you focus on the ones around, like, Shibuya, you can sort of see everything. Apparently, there's one called the Carrot Tower that I've never even heard of. Why is it called because it's orange. That's all you get, really. It's a big, tall orange, yeah.
That's west of Shibuya. Yeah, it's got a nice view from there, actually. I mean, I like Tokyo Tower because if you look up photos of Tokyo in the 1960s, it's quite astonishing. Like, Tokyo, there's nothing recognisable about it except Tokyo Tower. And it looms 310 metres, whatever it is, over the city, and there's nothing. Whereas today, it has been dwarfed by towers like Azabudai Hills in Roppongi, and it's sort of becoming ever more dwarfed by the buildings around it. Yeah. And so when I go to Tokyo Tower, I feel a sort of connection with historic Tokyo, or like Tokyo in the golden years.
Does it have a really slow lift from like the 1960s or whenever it was?
No, it's got multiple lifts. But what happened? What's really interesting? Last time I climbed it, I went up it. I didn't climb it. Last time I went up it, a lot of their business has been lost to Tokyo Skytree.
Yes,
because it's twice the height, and most people go there now. Although I still maintain Tokyo Tower has maybe a better view because it's all more central. But they had this weird propaganda thing where they make you clap and dance and recite lines about how Tokyo Tower is the best and the original. I shit you not, it was really weird.
Is it like a gang rivalry between all the towermen? The tower
it was a
people?
bit like that. It was like indoctrination. It was like, we're number one, Tokyo Tower, yeah. Repeat after me. Not the fucking Skytree, it's Tokyo Tower, yeah. And you have to be like, yeah, ha ha ha, oh, yeah. And it goes on a bit. It was really weird. And I remember, I think I was with Charlotte, and we were both like, this isn't normal, is it? She was like, no.
This isn't right.
It was very odd. You don't need to do that. Stick to the history. You don't need to indoctrinate people who just want to look at a view of a tree. So, yeah, go Tokyo Tower, never look back, and most importantly, keep the stories, questions, comments coming in to Abroad Japan Podcast at gmail.com. We'll be back later in the week, guys, do all over again, but for now, have yourself a wonderful few days. Go up Tokyo Tower, the king of towers, the number one, the best tower in Japan, and have yourself a wonderful week. Bye for now. It's number one. It's number one. Tokyo Tower's number one. It is.
Stop talking about Tokyo Tower. It's the music. The music's on.
Fucking weird, though.